Right, so I thought I might show you today what I've been doing. Um, there's a lady called Tracy, or I think her name is Tracy, on Tracy's Treasures 24, and she made a book, like a Hocus Pocus book, and it looked all old and mysterious and antique-y, and I loved the idea. I thought it was so beautiful, like really cool. And I decided that I was going to make a book of rooibos. But I wanted to make it look really old and stuff, like, these are like old Dutch recipes or whatnot, old Dutch, the old African recipes for things you can do with rooibos, because rooibos is not just a tea. You can do crazy things with it, like you can cook steak and stuff. So what I did was I took regular yellow typing paper, and I distressed it. I tried to make it look really old, and this is kind of that's quite a nice one, what it came out like, and I liked it. I wrinkled up the paper, and then I sponged over it with this stuff. Now this is Dallas Sun Color. Dallas is a South African company, and I really like their stuff. If you don't use it for the things that they tell you to use it for. This is actually a tie-dye thing. They sell this for when you want to make tie-dye shirts and whatnot. But I find that it actually works a lot. It works really cool on paper. And I wanted to use it, or I discovered this when I was trying to look for a bit like a cheaper way to cover large areas of whatever medium I want. And this is about 200. This is 250 ml bottle, and I pay about 30 rand for it. A little bit more authentic than if you just sponge on brown paper. The book covers are pretty cool. These are just pieces of chipboard that are covered with the same kind of paper, and that's how it looks like when it's done. What I did was I used one of those sheets, and I put a layer of Mod Podge over it. Except that Dalla makes their own kind of Mod Podge, but they call it Lodge Podge, and I think it's because of trademarking or something. But anyway, I only just found out recently that it wasn't called Mod Podge, that it was really called Mod Podge. So now I'm going to show you what the front cover is turning out to be. It's not finished yet, but I'm already so happy with the way it's come out. I don't know if you can see. I love it. It looks all leathery, and I got these pieces from a chipboard shop, not from a scrapbooking shop that sells chipboard pieces. And what I did I painted over them, like just randomly painted over them with Dalla acrylic texture base or texture paste. It dries really quickly. I like it a lot. And then I took a regular like stippling brush, but I reckon you don't have to use like a stippling brush. I have like a normal paintbrush that you use for walls and stuff. It's about the same bristle hardness. So I just took the brush and I went like this. That's not a good gesture. Sorry. You know what I mean? Like I just stippled it with the brush, and that came out really cool because it left these teeny little indentations in the paint. And when that dried, and I painted over with a layer of black Dalla fabric. So yeah. So then I put a layer of clear fine embossing powder, the fine kind, and I like how that came out. I think it looks all like metally, like old iron, like rusty old iron that's been painted over with that paint. Now this is my favorite part. I wanted it to look like sort of an old handwritten label So I wrote on it. I wrote on a piece of like cardboard with my fountain pen. And then for these little designs, what I'm pretending is a rooibos shrub. I use food coloring. I dipped the fountain pen in food coloring and I just sort of drew, and I kind of like how it came out because it looks like, you know, somebody from like way back when with the first Dutch ships or whatever would do in like 1652 or something. And this is the cool part. Now I'm going to try and show you this because my camera's really not going to pick it up, but I'm going to really try hard. Maybe. What I did was I gave it quite a thick coating, like 3 or 4 coats of ultra thick embossing enamel, and then I cracked it. So like I went like this with the paper, and so it cracked. We got all these cool little cracks in, and then I took some antique linen, I think it's called antique linen or old paper or something like that, and sponged over the cracks. Didn't show up that great. In retrospect, I would use something darker, like vintage walnut stain or vintage photo. I think it's called vintage photo. So that the cracks show up a little bit more. Once I got the cracks in, I put more embossing fluid on it and gave it one more coat of embossing enamel. And I love how it came out. It's like cracked glass. And I can imagine that there would be, you know, because I can imagine this book would be like, you know, going through different oceans. Like it'd be this old book that they carry with them, with like through all the different oceans. And at that time, I can imagine they didn't have plastic. So what they would do is put like a little piece of glass in the little book plate to protect the label. And I think it came out pretty cool. I quite like it. So I'm having issues with my printer because my new computer is not reading any of my ancient other technology, like my old 840 printer here. So I'm gonna have to hook up my old printer, my old PC, and print these pieces of paper with like recipes, and I've got quite a nice old font. What I want to do is I'm looking for sort of like old like a chintz fabric, or what do they call that style? Baroque. You know, like where it's like the fabric with like the gold thread embroidery kind of thing. And or I might just get a piece of regular fabric and then stamp on it with gold acrylic paint, or gold fabric paint for that matter. And having that and attaching that to the side of it, because I think that would give it like that sort of authentic old book look. On the front here, I want to, well, I'm going to get these findings, I think, and put them here, so they look like these old metal latches. And I'm not sure, I'll just have to check on placement and whether it's too busy, but I was thinking of putting a little bit of lock. I was thinking that I might get a little key and like build a little box at the bottom, so you could put the key in and you could turn it and it would keep the book shut. And then I also quite like the idea, I think, of the Japanese stab stitching method of bookbinding, where the cord is sort of exposed, but I haven't quite decided on it. So this is the first part of the book. This video is 13 minutes long, now going on to 14 minutes, so I'm going to stop now. I don't know anybody who's going to watch this entire thing. Alright, that's what I did today.